This video will contain spoilers. Thank you, and watch only if you want spoilers or have already read the series. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Creative Readers, etc. I'm Lexi, and this is the channel where I do creative things that sometimes involve reading, etc. Today's video is one that you guys actually requested, so I'm very excited to be bringing you ranking the Ranger's Apprentice characters. Now, since this is the Ranger's Apprentice characters, I will not be ranking characters from the other series like Brother Band or Royal Ranger. I do include Maddie because she's in the 12th book, but we'll get to that later. So, disclaimer, this is just Ranger's Apprentice characters. I also collaborated with the lovely Citizens of Arluin on Instagram. You can see their page right here. And I will also link them down in the description. She's lovely. She posts a lot of great Ranger's Apprentice content, and she helped me decide how and where to rank some of the characters in this video. Now, I've decided, after careful consideration, to rank the characters in a tier system, and it goes from S tier to F tier. I'm ranking the characters in 3 categories. First is personality and character, so their likability, just the way they interact with other people throughout the series, obviously, that's the most important. Then their relevance to the series, so characters that don't show up as much or don't play as big of a role to the plot will rank lower. And lastly, their special skills. Now, this didn't play as important a role when I was ranking the characters, but it did come into play to help break some ties and decide where to put whomst. So, without further ado, here's the list. I will be ranking in alphabetical order 16 of the most known characters from the Ranger's Apprentice series. So, without further ado, let's hop in. Alright, so the first character that we're going to be ranking is Alice. Now, Alice was a diplomat and a courier throughout the series. She was one of the original characters orphaned with Will when they were still training or trying to get their apprenticeships. And she's very smart, witty, intelligent. She will throw you an emote. I love her, Team Alice, and she did go on to later marry Will. So because of her talents, her personality, and her charm, and throwing people an emote, Alice is going in the A tier. I didn't put her in the S tier only because there were some times she didn't play as pivotal of a role as she might have. But there were other times when she was an absolute goddess, and we love Alice in this house. So Alice, A tier. The next character, Cassandra, aka Evelyn. Cassandra is great. She is the Princess of Arluin. She rescued Will from the Scandian slave camp. She's brave, she's bold, she ended up marrying Horace, and she does what she wants. She's her own woman. She's a strong, independent woman, just like Alice. And they're great. They had a little jealousy moment going on, but I love them both. And Cassandra is going to be in the S tier because she does end up playing such an important role in so many of the stories. She does save Will, which literally allows the series to continue. Alrighty, the next character that I'm ranking is Crowley, however you want to pronounce it. I'm saying Crowley. And he is, of course, the Ranger Commandant. And he's funny, he is sassy, he will jab at Halt. They have a great bromance. I love Crowley, but he wasn't like a super duper important character in the series. So I did put him in the B tier because his personality and skill ranks him very high up in the series. And he did have a lot of relevance, just not as much as some of the other characters. So I'm putting him in the B tier just because he didn't show up a whole lot, but when he did, it was very important, and he's a great character. Love Crowley. The next character is Eric. Again, however you want to pronounce it. I say Iraq because that's how I read it. Iraq is, of course, a Scandian. He is now the Oberjarl of the Scandians. Saved Will, as well as Cassandra, from the internment camps. Now, he didn't play a super pivotal role in the Ranger's Apprentice series, but because he did later go on to play a pretty important role in the Brother Band series, I ranked him a little higher. Plus, his skills and his character in saving Will from the camp really put him up there for me, so I did rank Iraq as a B tier as well. The only reason I didn't rank him A or S is because, obviously, like I said, he doesn't play a huge role in the Ranger's Apprentice franchise, but he does play a pretty important one when he's there. So, he's a B tier because he's a great dude, and I love me some Iraq. Next character is George. George was one of the apprentices along with Will in the orphanage. To my remembrance, he shows up in the first book and that's it. And the fact that I don't remember him showing up in any other books kind of testifies to, even if he does, it wasn't super important. And I don't really remember anything about his character either, because I think he only showed up briefly. So for that purpose and that purpose only, sorry George, you're the only character in our F tier. It's not that George was a bad dude, it's just that he's not rememberable at all. And I don't think he played a super important role to this series. So, sorry, F tier. The next character that we have is Gillen. Gillen is everyone's favorite. I love Gillen. He's hilarious. He helped Will develop his ranger skills. He was Halt's first apprentice. He fell in love with Jenny. Super important character throughout the series. Helped them on a lot of their misadventures. Also was pretty important in some of the Brother Band books. But again, not ranking those. Just kind of something that went into consideration. And Gillen's great. Overall, he was pretty pivotal, highly skilled, the only ranger who's really good with a sword, and he's in the S tier because that's where he deserves to be. Gillen is S tier quality. We love Gillen in this house. The next character is Halt. Halt, good old Halt. Halt is a very, 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 very skilled ranger. Legendary. People were scared of him. Took Will in as his apprentice, trained him, loved Will, was a father figure to Will. What's not to like about Halt? Loves coffee. He's Halt. Halt is the reason for the Ranger's Apprentice series. Without Halt, the world would be dull. Halt, as you might have guessed, is going in the S tier because that's where he needs to be. Our next character is Horace. Horace is a warrior. He's the best friend to Will, although they did kind of start off as enemies, but they kind of fixed that very quickly in the first book, and they've been best bros ever since. Horace is brave. He's a very skilled and strong knight. He did end up marrying Princess Cassandra, and he and Will have saved each other on multiple occasions. So he's very important to this series. He shows up in pretty much all of the books, I'm fairly certain. And I am putting him in the A tier because I feel like he did about as much as Alice. Super important to the series. We have Jenny. Jenny was also orphaned along with Will, Horace, Alice, and George. She became a cook. She also became the girlfriend of Gillen, and that's about it. That's about all there is to Jenny. She's pretty sweet. She's a good girl. She does show up a lot more than George does because I obviously remember things about her. And for that reason, she is going in the D tier because I actually remember things about her personality. But aside from that, she wasn't super duper important to the actual plot of the story. She was just kind of there to exist and be comic relief or something. I don't know. But she was sweet. She's great at cooking. And she showed up a lot more than George did, so. Our next character is King Duncan. King Duncan is, as you can tell, the king of Arluin. He is the father of Cassandra. He's a funny guy. We love King Duncan, but he wasn't a huge influence on the series as far as plotline goes. He showed up every now and again, sent them on some quests. So he's not as unimportant as like Jenny, George, but he's not up there with Crowley or any of the others. So for that reason, he is also in the C tier. The next character is Maddie. Maddie is, of course, the daughter of Cassandra and Horace. She shows up in the 12th book, which is also the first book of the Royal Ranger series. And because she doesn't literally even exist in the rest of the Ranger's Apprentice series, I'm putting her in a D tier. When she is there, she's pretty cool. She's very adventurous. She wants to do her own thing. She ends up training with Will to become a ranger, but that's more Royal Ranger stuff than Ranger's Apprentice. But because she is there for the 12th book, I put her in the D tier because she's the main character of the 12th book. So I couldn't feel righteous putting her in the F tier, but She does rank pretty low because she's not super duper important to the whole franchise. Sorry, them's the facts. The next character is Lady Pauline, who is Alice's mentor in her courier diplomatic whatnots and going-ons. Pauline is an absolute queen. She's great. We stand. She's not super duper important to the series, and she did end up dating Halt. I don't remember if they got married or not, but she did end up with Halt in some capacity, and she's going into A tier. I know, I just said she's not super duper important to the series, but she got Halt to practice self-care, and I feel like that is the highest skill that is possible in the Ranger's Apprentice series. So she's the A tier because of that reason solely. The next character is Selethin from the 7th book from Iraq's Ransom, and he was pretty cool. He was the head of the desert community where they had to go to save Iraq. He helped them along the way, kind of guided them. He showed up a couple of other times. He wasn't a huge influence to the series as a whole, but he did show up in a few books, and he was a cool dude. So overall, I ranked him in the C tier just because he didn't show up a lot, but when he was there, he was pretty important, and he was super cool. The next character is Tug. Tug was Will's horse, and we love Tug. He's sassy, he's funny, he likes food, and he is the S tier because he literally carried the entire series on his back. Without Tug, there would be no series. So Tug is in the S tier. You can fight me. I do not accept criticism on this. And our last character is, of course, the guy who started it all, Will. Will is an orphan who didn't think he was going to become anyone's apprentice and then became the greatest ranger ever, pretty much. That might be exaggerating a little bit, but he's great. He's obviously the main character of the series. He's hilarious, he's sassy, he's kind of funny sometimes, but also a little bit slow on the uptake. And he's S tier because obviously, as I said, main character, and we love him. He's great all around. So, with that being said, that concludes ranking all of the Ranger's Apprentice characters. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want, please be sure to comment your own rankings down below. I'd love to see where you rank everybody, or if you agree with mine. I have Instagram, Twitter, linked down in the description below. You can go follow those for updates on the channel and just other random content that I want to post. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to consider subscribing, liking it, and commenting down below. It really makes my day. I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye-bye!